YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. Updating my NFL bracket predictions here going into the divisional rounds and on. We're going to predict all the way to the Super Bowl, see who my Super Bowl winner is. We update this every single week. Before we get started with that, we have two channels now. This channel and the Goat House Plus, extra content on there. You're going to want to subscribe to both. Link in the description and the comments in every single video. Trying to reach that 40K sub goal on both, getting real close on this channel. We think we should be able to match the subscribers on both, because it's both of our channels here. And then our Twitter, at Goathouse NFL. Link in the description comments for that. If you like the Goat House, if you like the NFL, I think it's a must follow. If you don't have a Twitter, I'd recommend you sign up and just follow us. They're constantly talking NFL, talking football, and talking about the breaking news when it happens, keeping you updated on the channel, talking during live games. We got you covered on there, so go ahead and follow that. Link in the description in the comments as well. Patreon has extra content. Score predictions from every single playoff game from all the Goat House members, so pretty cool there. You can kind of compare, and see different perspectives on the games with the score predictions, and there's plenty more on there as well. Link in the description for that as well. And to the playoff bracket. So we're here past the wild card round, a crazy wild card round, and I did something different this week. This is very cool. Multiple reasons what I did here. If you have notifications on, you already knew this happened, but if you don't have notifications on, you're going to want to turn them on. Why? Because I have polls on the channel, the community section on the channel all the time, and you guys get to vote. I had you guys vote for the divisional round matchups to determine who moves on. I think that was a good way to do it. And then after those are determined, I'm going to predict the rest of the way. Another reason was it seemed like for the two NFC games, a lot of people in the comments just did not like my picks. Said they couldn't handle it. So this is a good way to do it. So we'll see. Some surprises here, but we'll break all that down here. But the first NFC matchup, Vikings-Niners, people weren't happy with me when I took the Vikings. I explained my reasoning. There's some good matchup reasons that I side with the Vikings, but that actually might be a changed pick for me. Still deciding because I hate changing my pick. It's never gone right, but the Vikings are starting to pile up with the injuries, and it's changes the matchup really. Jaron Curse is actually a big one that's going to be out because I thought he was the guy to match up on Kittle. So that's actually a big one, and they have the receiver issue as well. But you guys voted here, and a landslide victory for the most part. The Niners win the vote, so that's who you guys voted for there. I think the NFC games are really the toughest one. We'll circle back. We're going to kind of go in order here and how the games are scheduled. So Titans-Ravens, a big victory on the poll. You guys voted for the Ravens, no surprise there. But I will add the Ravens, it's a little scary because the starters have had a break, not just the bye week here. They sat that last game against the Steelers, and that's kind of the last team you want to get cold. It was a hot team. They're rolling. Not too many injuries. Mark Ingram, I guess it was good to get him healthy. But they have a good running back group. So that's the thing that scares me. It was a good thing that the Niners had a bye. The Packers, I don't think it was really a win-loss either way. It's a win that they got the 2 seed, but if they would have had to play early, I don't know if it would have hurt them. And then the Chiefs getting the bye was big because they've been beat up, easy to get beat up this year. The Ravens are the only team I think that could be a loss having the bye week, but they are a dominant team. It's hard to stop even if you have a game plan against them. It's a team you wish you played. You wish you played in the regular season to kind of prepare. Titans have not played them. Titans are on fire the second half of the season, but it's hard to go against the Ravens and that dominant team right there. The next game was Texans Chiefs, a big victory in the poll. You guys voted for the Chiefs. The Texans did beat the Chiefs this year. It doesn't mean much. You can't base a lot off a first meeting or who teams played, who they beat, like compared to each other. You can't really do that. But it is good to have, that victory for the Texans, keeping in mind that, they definitely have a shot because, the Chiefs are big-time favorites. The Chiefs' defense has improved big time since then. Their health has improved big time since then. The Texans, it feels like they're almost the same, but it's hard to stop Deshaun Watson, especially when he has DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller. So I think they can keep up scoring with the Chiefs. They're going to have to. So it's Mahomes versus Watson. It's a great battle. So I did pick the Chiefs as well, and in that game. So now we're on the last one. This is where I was surprised. I was surprised by the comments on me picking the Packers. A lot of people were they acted confused on why I picked the Packers. It's the Seahawks definitely can win. I explain it much more in those videos. But then the second time I was surprised was seeing who you guys voted for. I was surprised that the Seahawks, I think it was about 55%. So I guess not by that much. But I was a little surprised by it. I think the Packers have they're favored in the matchup here. It is hard to doubt Russell Wilson, but at the same time, Aaron Rodgers on the other side. But I like the Packers defense in this game. So you guys didn't really agree with me on the NFC side. And again, I'm probably switching the other pick. And again, I hate switching my pick. But I'm keeping the Packers. I'm not saying the Seahawks can't win, but I went with the Packers. But you guys voted for by a decent amount for taking the underdog, the Seahawks. So you guys decided that to be the matchups there, the AFC and the NFC championship games. So I thought we can go on and predict the rest of the way from here. Real quick, I picked the Packers. If the Packers would play the Niners, I think it would be a lot closer than last time. But I think having home field would be the key in that game. So it probably still have to side with the Niners, but a lot goes into it how teams played this week, because I did this video last week and I picked the Saints to beat the Vikings and then the Saints to beat the Packers. If the Saints would have escaped that game against the Vikings, if they would have won in overtime, I would have changed my pick to picking the Packers, because I saw they were vulnerable, in the pass blocking game and Breeze with the pressure, and I think the Packers would have done a good job there. So you see, my point is, based on how the games play this week, could change things. So if I'm correct, the Packers win, and they show me something a little more, their offense stepped up, which I think is very realistic, and maybe the Niners win the game but don't look all that hot, I could very well be picking the Packers to go to the Super Bowl next week. That's just one example, that applies to the AFC side as well. But looking at the AFC matchup, I really think these could be the two best teams in football, the two AFC teams. And the Chiefs beat them early in the year. Doesn't mean a whole lot. The Ravens have come a long way since then, but the Chiefs have gotten healthier and a better defense since then. It's hard to pick against the Ravens. I'm a little scared about the Ravens because all it takes is one team to game plan the correct way from Lamar Jackson, just like all it took was one team to correctly game plan for Michael Thomas, the correct double coverage, and that worked for, in the first round against the Saints. It's almost the same thing, way different players, obviously, two different positions, but my point is, all it takes is one for somebody to do it right, and it's possible. It's not an impossible task. So that scares me a little bit, and then hopefully they didn't get rusty, but it's just so hard to go against the Ravens right now. You look at the Chiefs versus Ravens in that exact matchup. This is the way I have to play it now. I can't really base it off of, can they be rusty? It's a little ridiculous for me to pick against the Ravens because they maybe can be rusty, or maybe somebody figure out Lamar Jackson. It's just assumptions and, the matchup. I think both teams can compete with each other scoring. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. I was about to say a little more trust, but actually a lot more. I really like the Chiefs defense where it's gotten to, but a lot more trust in the Ravens defense. The Chiefs defense has improved, has impressed me, but a lot more trust in the Ravens defense. At the same time, the offense, I think different offenses, completely different, but I think even in terms of talent at that stage. So really the Ravens defense is the key there, and it's very hard to go against them. If the Niners and the Seahawks met up in an NFC West championship game, if they met up in this scenario 1-5 in San Francisco, I would definitely have to go with the Niners. It is weird, seeing maybe a Jimmy Garoppolo, even though he's played very well this season, go to the Super Bowl over a Russell Wilson, who might be the very best passer in football and an MVP candidate for a reason. It's tough, but again, the Seahawks with the lack of run game, maybe they can get some, even if they make it this point, some more. Maybe they can get healthier even further. But being one-dimensional, the Niners, you can compare both offenses, but if the Seahawks are one-dimensional, you give the edge to San Francisco in San Francisco. That's a key. And looking at the defenses, you definitely give the edge to the San Francisco defense, even though I want to see more. We'll see how they are against the Vikings, because they declined a little bit over the year. And I know there could be legitimate excuses, but it doesn't change the fact that they did a little bit. In Seattle, they can give up big plays, but they get those clutch turnovers. And a lot of coaching goes into this game big time, because sometimes things get into your head. You play this team twice, and sometimes you outsmart yourselves in these situations. It's very hard to play a team 3 times on either side, whether it's the Niners or the Seahawks. Being home in San Francisco and the Seahawks, as of now being one-dimensional, kind of, helps me lean towards that San Francisco side. So when I did this Super Bowl prediction, actually towards the end of the year and last week from the wild card round, I had the same exact Super Bowl matchup. Yeah, I have it again. I think it's very realistic that the Chiefs can win the Super Bowl if they make it to the stage. I had the Packers beating the Seahawks in this upcoming round, and the Packers very well if they, I trust their defense if they get their offense going, which is very, very possible. The Packers, it's very realistic they are in the Super Bowl with the Ravens or the Chiefs, or you can't count the Texans, the Titans. The Texans have that winner in Deshaun Watson, and they're even a step up with having Will Fuller back, hopefully the rest of the way here. And the Titans have been, the Ravens have been known as the hottest team in football. But the second half of the year, the Titans, I think, have been the hottest team in football. It's almost impossible to stop Derrick Henry, and the passing game really opens up when Derrick Henry's running that good. Ryan Tannehill has been insane in play action, and it's because of Derrick Henry and Tannehill's ability to throw the ball and ability, A.J. Brown's ability, and their defense is getting better along the way. So you can't really rule those teams out. And we talked about the Seahawks and the Vikings. The Vikings have had really the last 5 weeks an elite defense. I don't know where it's really come from. We've seen it in the past from the Vikings, but this year they haven't been too solid, but the last 5 weeks have been absolutely insane. And the Seahawks have Russell Wilson, maybe the best passer in football, and a clutch defense. Not the best defense, but a clutch defense, just missing that run game. But I have, once again, the Ravens and the Niners here, and it's really hard for me to change my pick. I go with the Ravens still. I am a little scared. I've talked about this, in the past here. I'm a little scared because they've had too much of a break. Maybe I've seen teams, I've seen a million times teams just sit their players early and have the bye, and they get rusty. That's what scares me a lot. And like I said, they have to play the Titans, and they have to play the AFC Championship game, and then they have to play the Super Bowl game if they make the run. That's 3 games. All it takes is 1 out of 3 to game plan the correct way for Lamar Jackson. And it's possible. It's a very tough task, but it's possible. And if they take away Lamar Jackson, the other team will have to score against a good Ravens defense, and that kind of brings up what I like about the Ravens the most, that they're very balanced. They have both sides of the ball. They blitz very well at the same time of having the best secondary in football, so it's hard to go against the Ravens. If you do slow down Lamar, there's still more of a task ahead, and it's already a big task itself. So it's very hard to go with the Ravens, even though I think it's realistic, and I think the spread is too high against the Titans. They are -10. That is too much. Titans are a very good football team. The ultimate team where you can't judge them based off their record. The Tennessee Titans, that is. Ultimate team. They had Mariota in early. The play calling was atrocious early. Vrabel's decisions were terrible early. Derrick Henry was not getting going early. The offensive line was awful early. And then they changed everything. It's not just Tannehill. I think that helped pretty much everything at once. But all of those things really got going, and now on top of that, I think their defense is starting to improve because they're getting healthier. They still miss Malcolm Butler out there. They're playing Jeffrey Simmons more, who's dominant. Hopefully, Jayon Brown can stay. All of a sudden, I'm talking about the Titans. Titans are the ultimate sleeper this year, though. That's kind of my point. So the Ravens don't have a free win here this week, and what some people think for some reason. But we can continue to update this every single week. Pretty fun. We'll really break down the AFC and NFC Championship games fully, and we'll have our predictions, of course. Appreciate you guys for voting. Turn notifications on so you don't miss any of those polls. You guys will vote for who the players of the games were for this upcoming week, too. The upcoming games here in the divisional round after they end there. So always some fun stuff going on in the community section. Just turn notifications on. You won't miss a thing. And do that and subscribe to both channels. We'd really appreciate some big things in the work. More coming. More content coming. We have a lot planned for the offseason. I'm really excited for that. I'm in playoff mode and offseason mode at the same time, and I'm loving it right now. They kind of ruined it. All the head coaching hires a little too early last year. I predicted all the head coaches correctly except for one, and they already decided to hire unpredictable head coaches except for the Browns. So I guess we could talk about the Browns maybe in the future, but I think it's between McDaniels, Stefanski, and Salah from the Niners there. We'll see. But yeah, a lot to talk about still, so appreciate you guys for being here. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching this video. That's going to do it. Goodbye.